Well, hello again. Here's another one of my questions for yes or no answers. Another fairly controversial one, I would guess. The question is it okay to be obese? We all know that the incidence of obesity everywhere in the Western world is going up quite fast. The world is having to adapt to that to some extent. Hospitals and mortuaries are having to equip themselves with special equipment to deal with the size of some of the bodies that they have to deal with. And sociologists, psychiatrists, doctors are beginning to worry about the concept of the normalization of obesity. So many people are obese that one can justifiably wonder whether it's just becoming kind of an ordinary thing to be obese, nothing to get excited about. Well, there are some strong views about whether this is true or not, so let's take a look at some of them. Uh, on the on the yes side, that it is okay to be obese, I suppose the biggest argument that we can call upon is the notion that it's my body. It's up to me how to deal with it. It's nobody else's business. I'm the owner of all the decisions about how I look, what I eat, what shape my body takes, and there's really nobody else that can tell me what to do about that. I just won't accept that. That's a kind of a defiant statement, but nonetheless, it's clear. I think universally applicable and has a lot going for it. The second one is the notion that my husband loves me. He doesn't see anything wrong with my being obese. This, of course, is under the assumption that we're talking about a lady, but the same could apply in the opposite gender direction. And in fact, not only does he love me, but he seemingly can't wait to be intimate with me. So I'm happy about that. The third argument is I'm a happy person. Now, what's wrong with that? If I were sad, depressed, withdrawn, that would be another matter, but I'm not. I'm happy with whom I am, and how can you argue with that? It's simply one of the goals in life. It's happiness, and I have that. So I don't really have a problem with being obese. Well, there are certainly some strong negative answers to the question here as well. So, to take the point of it not being okay to be obese, I suppose the biggest one is the calamitous effect that it has on health. Virtually every disease, every medical condition from which people die is exacerbated by obesity. You're much more likely to get most cancers if you're obese. Heart trouble is certainly heavily impacted by obesity. Stroke, all of the really serious things that can happen to you as you get older are all made much worse by obesity. Number two, it's really not fair on those who have to care for you when it finally catches up with you. As I walk down the high street here in Canterbury, I see many people in mobility scooters puttering up and down the high street, nearly all of whom are obese. Now, perhaps some of them got obese once they arrived in the mobility scooter, but more likely it was their obesity that caused them to be immobile, unable to walk on their own, and requiring a vehicle to just get down the high street. Isn't that sad? That's pretty awful. Number three, another point here is that it's embarrassing. It's really humiliating to have to experience the derision that many obese people do when they're out in public. People call them names, yell at them, make derisive gestures, and so forth. And that would kind of get me down. If I were obese, it would certainly strengthen my resolve to try and do something about it. And it's a pretty unpleasant way to live one's life, really. And fourth, not trivially, it's expensive and humiliating to be told that you have to buy 2 airplane seats when you're going somewhere. And many airlines now are insisting on this. My wife and I, who travel a lot, have noticed that we see fewer and fewer obese people in airports. And we're wondering why this is. Probably because they simply can't sustain the very long walks that are increasingly required, certainly in the airports around here. And it may also be that they just simply don't want to face having to buy 2 airplane seats. Well, what's my take on all of this? Look, I'm not denigrating. I'm very sympathetic to the plight of the obese, principally because I know how hard it is to deal with the problem. The figures are widely known to the effect that virtually all attempts to lose weight fail. Only 5 or at the most 10% really succeed. But it's possible. Film stars who have to prepare themselves for a part and lose weight because they're highly motivated can do so. The well-known singer, the Adele, has taken an enormous amount of weight off, looks great, has been greatly praised for that. I'm sure she feels very good about having done it and so forth. And people, of course, also do the same thing in preparation for weddings or other big events where they're going to see people that they haven't seen for a long time. So I suppose the message is this: it's really tough, and I have a lot of sympathy, but it's possible. And in order to stave off the difficulties that I've cited in here, I would strongly recommend to people who are obese that they embark upon a program and absolutely give it their best shot, like their life depends upon it, because that's what it probably does. Okay, well, thanks for that. I hope it hasn't made you too uncomfortable, but it's a pretty important issue that really requires addressing, and I'm glad you were able to experience with me. So if you like it, give me a like, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and tell your friends, especially the obese ones, about the video. Okay, thanks a lot. Bye bye now. See you next time.